That's the collective heads of some Giant fans exploding as the reviews are coming in from the Giants practice with the Lions. This is Tim, this is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. We're getting in some information and dribbles and drabs about the Giants not looking, or I should say the Giants first team not looking too stellar in this joint practice. It is what it is. I mean, it's a joint practice. It's one day. It's one session. But I love it because you have the people that are, of course, in the Daniel Jones camps. They're just like, well, this doesn't mean anything. This is nothing. I'm not seeing anyone overreacting. Well, evidently you haven't been really looking at Twitter too much because it's been going crazy. I'm already seeing some people post some things. Tyrod's better. It's one practice. It's one practice. You know what? You just have to. I just keep thinking about it.
Remain calm. All is well.
It's a joint practice. The first team offense didn't look good. Daniel Jones didn't look good. But you have all these people that are sitting there who were, pretty much Daniel Jones enthusiasts now just saying, we don't need anything to worry about because this doesn't count. This doesn't really matter. Even though he went 5 for 12 on 11 interceptions, C.J. Gardner-Johnson evidently dropped an interception, and he evidently missed wide open wide receivers, and everyone that was there is saying that it was a rough outing. And it's one of those things that you don't shoot the messenger. You don't shoot the messenger who's bringing you the bad news because they did not create the bad news. And at the end of the day, to a lot of people's points, it's one practice. It's one. And it just proves a little bit more that and we've talked about this ad nauseum, when you're playing the all-shorts team, when you're going against the all-cone team, when you're sitting there and you're playing against competition that you see daily, it is entirely different than when you go out there and you play against another team, people that you have never seen before, players that you've never gone up against. Matchups that you've never seen, defenses you've never seen, formations you've never seen. It's different. Sometimes different is good, sometimes different is bad. You have your ups and your downs. Now, if you go back, I think it was about 3 years ago, and I've talked about this before, you look at the Cleveland practice. The Cleveland practice was terrible, the joint practice. And the game was even worse. But you could tell after that, we had such good practices going into that Cleveland joint practice 3 years ago. But the problem was this. At the end of the day, you could see that Cleveland was head and shoulders above the Giants talent-wise. I'm not saying that's what's happening here against Detroit. All I'm saying is it's one practice. It's one practice. It's one blip in time. It's one moment in time. But for you to just dismiss it as nothing, for people just to be like, well, that's nothing, that's the wrong way to take a look at it as well. Because what if the coaching staff did that? What if the coaching staff decided and said, you know what? Our starting quarterback was 5 for 12 and 11 on 11s, and he threw an interception that was dropped. And he missed guys open on deep passes. What if they just say, well, it's just a joint practice, doesn't mean anything. No, they're not saying that. They're going back and looking at the film. They're getting a better idea of what was working, what was not working. But it's a good barometer of where the offense really is. Because you can go up against the same players repeatedly and you're going to know their tendencies. You are going to know where they're going to move in the field. You're going to know what they like to do, what they don't like to do. But when you get out there against players that, like I said, that are different, that you haven't seen before, it's going to be different. I tell you this, I'm watching some of the footages on Saquon. Saquon looks good coming out of the backfield. Saquon ran some routes today. And I'm just watching some of it over and over again. He looks like he's doing pretty good. And we need to have him out of the backfield more and more because he is a weapon out of the backfield. And that's something that we need to work on. That's something we got away from in reference to passing the ball to him out of the backfield. It's not like he's been a slouch. He's still averaged like 50 or 60 passes over the last 5 years. Of course, a majority of them came on that first season, his rookie season, where he caught, I think it was like 70-plus balls out of the backfield. But it's going to be just what it is. It's just preseason. It's just training camp. But you still have to look at it and say, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Where can we improve our game? And how can we make what we do better? Because the game is only going to get different. The game is only going to get harder. The game is only going to be, because when it's for real, it doesn't matter if it's a joint practice or not. When it's for real, it counts. It counts in the side. It counts. I still just love the people, though, and I'm making fun of Rob. I'm making fun of Rob. The Giants, this week one game is a must-win game. We have to win in Dallas. If we're not, we'll be 0-1 and 0-1 of the division. We have to win. If we don't win, the entire season is lost. And you know what's funny? If we go 0-1, we lose that first game. You know what game is then going to be the most important game of the season? It's going to be game 2. And then you know what happens if we go 2-0, 0-2, people say, well, only 6% of the teams makes the playoffs. Then you know what's going to be the most important game of the season? Game 3. Is anyone seeing a pattern here? Everything is the most important thing. But the most important thing is building a successful organization, building continuity with your team, building continuity with your defense, finding the right players that fit in the right system. That is the most important. That is the most important thing. And that's what the culture that Joe Shane and Brian Dable are trying to build. That's why they went out and got people like Waller. That's why they went out and got Paris Campbell. That's why they did try to do the things they needed to do. Like I said, I could sit here all day and tell you, this doesn't mean anything, or this means everything because Daniel Jones looked horrible. He just looked terrible. This is the end of the Giants season. We should have got rid of him. We shouldn't have gave him the. I see headlines that they talk about, and they start off with 4 years, $160 million quarterback. Daniel Jones had a bad practice. You're gonna have bad practices. Brett Favre had a bad practice. Joe Montana's had a bad practice. Eli Manning's had a bad practice. Phil Simms has had a bad practice. You have bad practices. But you're not going to sit there, and I'm not going to, like I said, and people always tell you, I'm the biggest Daniel Jones detractor there is, because I speak the truth. And the problem is, I'm speaking the truth the other way. I'm not going to gauge what he is going to do in 2023 off 12 plays or whatever it was, 15 plays off a joint practice in August against the Detroit Lions. I've said this before. I don't get too high in reference to the news coming out of training camp, because nowadays you don't put on the pad, you play the all shorts team. And I'm not going to get too low on information when it comes out of a joint practice. When the bell rings and you are ready to start, and we go to Ford's Field that first preseason game, if the starters play, and I do think they should play. I do think they should play a couple series. You're going to start getting a better idea. And you're going to get a better idea against vanilla defenses and vanilla offenses. It's going to be that first week that you build up into Dallas where it's really going to matter. So, but I like I said, it just cracks me up, though, because you have so many people that have jumped over to the Daniel Jones camp. As soon as this news came out, they're like, well, it doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't mean anything at all. And all you people that say it means something, you're just not real Giant fans. That's why Twitter is a cesspool of information. And that's why I laugh. And that's why Twitter makes me smile. It really does. Because at the end of the day, none of it means anything. And you have to think of it that way. It really means nothing. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And if you're worried about August 8th, a day, a summer day in Detroit, we got bigger things to worry about, because like I said, you talk to me after that first game. Talk to me after that first game. Talk to me then, or that really second playoff game. Because you know what, and I laugh. That's why there's a tremendous overreaction and underreaction to what's going on. And this is sometimes why, as a fan base, I get aggravated, because it's people are looking to find things wrong with something, and people, when they see something wrong, automatically make excuses and call you're not a real fan. Have a beer. Don't cost nothing. And again, this is New York Giants Strike Talk. This is Tim. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell, because you want to know why. Well, that'd be awesome.